Thank you for an opportunity to speak about my town. Greens have been on the Fairfax Town Council since 1999, and in 2009 I was fortunate to join 2 existing Green Party members on that council. My election established us as the only current Green Party majority town council in this country. Since my election, we convinced one of our Democratic members to also become a member of the Green Party. So we now have 4 out of 5 Green Party members. The Greens have taken over Fairfax, California, and I am here to tell you all is well. In the past several years, we have done a lot of work for which we are very proud of. It is how we got the majority that we hold today. We are best known for our environmental policy, with work on marine clean energy, open space preservation, insisting on the labeling of GMOs, pesticide, plastic, and styrofoam bans that exist in our community. And don't even get me started on the number of hours I spent on our garbage hauling contract that will get us to 94% diversion away from the landfill by 2020. But today, I want to talk about our economic policies. And as I do, I want to keep in mind who really makes up our local town council. We're citizens. We are parents, we are workers, we live mostly normal lives, we volunteer in our community, and we enact change through shockingly basic means. We work really hard. We research, we negotiate, we compromise, we debate, we go through a lot of trial, and we go through a lot of error. We occupy the city government of Fairfax, not just with ideals and principles, but with the determination to do the boring part of getting the job done. If there is something that you can take from these brief remarks, that's it. Fairfax made these accomplishments happen because we formed coalitions with everyone. We grew political will, and we push until we get it done. So here is what we've done on the economic front. We've had a progressive majority long before we had a Green majority, and one of the early actions of that council was to establish a fair wage ordinance. They believe that the health and welfare of all Fairfax residents is benefited when all Fairfax workers are paid a living wage. Many of our workers, many of our workers and our families in our town live at or below the poverty line. Paying inadequate wages had a negative effect on everyone in Fairfax, and a living wage tells each worker that they are valued, and it builds wealth in the entire community. Thank you. They also passed a ban on national-owned chain stores to ensure, yes. To ensure the unique character of our community, but also because doing business with our neighbors ensures our town's autonomy. It ensures our economic security and our collective solidarity. Yeah. So I came into service of elected office after spending 5 years as the executive director of a local nonprofit on sustainability policy and resilient lifestyle. That's where the chickens and the worms came in. I'm really just a farm girl from Minnesota. One project that spanned the work of that nonprofit and the service to the town of Fairfax was the Fairbuck. This is a local currency we launched last year. The Fairbuck is an initiative, collaboration between a nonprofit, a chamber of commerce, and a local government. It allows us, anyone using this shiny little $3 token, to have our residents, our visitors, and our businesses invest in Fairfax. The Fairbucks keep money local, they generate funds for local community projects, and they encourage a conversation about economic alternatives. I have a whole pocket full of those if you want one. They're $3, of course. And has that conversation about economic alternatives been fruitful? Yes, it has. Soon after the launch of the Fairbuck, we supported statewide legislation to form a public bank like the one we have that is in North Dakota. We believe that public tax dollars should not be placed in private banks for support the private gain. Public money should be in public banks for public good. Municipalities, small businesses, students, Homeowners should all be able to borrow money at reasonable interest rates that do not line the pockets of large corporate bankers. Yes. Thank you. And most recently, we worked very hard with our staff. Those of you who have to work with staff, staff are sometimes challenging. They have to enact all the things all of us electeds put into place. And so we worked really hard with staff to move our money. Our $7 million town budget and all of the banking services that go with it are, as we speak, being moved away from Bank of America and into the Bank of Marin. So when Fairfax incorporated in 1931 as a party town on the train headed north from San Francisco, nobody would have guessed that we would be the only Green Party majority town government in the country. We have become a place where local political initiatives synthesize with national and global campaigns for social and economic justice. We are a place where the beauty of Northern California combines with vital policy to improve our world and our day-to-day lives on this precious planet. And that is how political and economic change starts, in the most intimate and normal of spaces. We are like you, simply citizens who love our town and have a desire to improve the future. We represent constituents who want to live sustainably and responsibly in their community, and they need structures, they need support, they need networks, they need information, and the education of how to do so. Personally, these issues were important to me as a mother, as well as an educator and as an advocate, and that is why I'm standing in front of you today. Thank you. But what I'm, but what I'm really here to tell you is that despite our wealth of accomplishments and our ability to gain a majority, there's nothing exceptional about the fact that we do it. The policies that we enact are pragmatic and realistic. They are feasible. They are not utopian. They are not far-fetched. In fact, these policies are part of a groundswell of a socially, environmentally, and economically responsible policymaking that is happening in communities all around this nation. Living wage ordinances are emerging all over the country, and although these ordinances are sometimes vetoed by leaders who cater to interests different than our own, the movements keep springing up. And each time there is a living wage struggle, more people are educated about the relationship between another person's quality of life and our own. Campaigns for living wages teach us about our interconnectedness. I've also been contacted by numerous other communities who are working to pass their own chain store bans. Keep at it. There are hundreds of local currencies in the US. Detroit Cheers is being used by several businesses. One of the business owners in Detroit called it Detroit's Economic Stimulus Package. Ithaca, New York has Ithaca Hours. In Piedmont, North Carolina, the Plenty Currency Cooperative has been operating since 2002 with the goal of safeguarding jobs and differentiating local culture from big box stores and generic Americana. As we heard from GAR, legislation and feasibility studies to create regional and state public banks are being looked at in up to 20 different states. Thanks to the Occupy movement, and the horrific practices of the big multinational banks, people, towns, and businesses are following Move Our Money command and taking their money to credit unions and community banks all over the country. To occupy today means we are in control of our own destiny. Doing business with all of our neighbors is our key to solidarity. We demand that the real alternative to corporate capitalist management is collective democratic self-management. Yes. And as we look at the Green Party platform, from electoral reform to economic reform, from peace-oriented foreign policy to environmental sensibility, we need to remember that each of those big ideas consist of a lot of perfectly feasible, starkly pragmatic policies that can and must be enacted at every level of government. All of this is going to take a hell of a lot of patience, focus, and discipline, and hard work. So I invite all of you, especially the advocates and the educators, to join me in occupying our public offices. Yes. And if you don't get in right away, don't sit back and wait for the next election. Work with the electeds that are in those chairs. Get in there and do the hard work to build the future we all need. Thank you.